Merry Goop, Miss Children.
Hello?
Hello, Ursula, of course, in the background, being
Hello?
all oh and stuff. Hey, it's Gooby time. Let's go. What is a script and how does one write one? I don't know. That's a big mystery. Hello, Clad. Hello, Ace. Hello, Lettuce. Starry Sky. Hex. Izzy. Skittle. Opt for thy name. Mary Crippen. Yeah, it's Cripmas.
Hello? Merry
I got all my hair pushed back. I have such hair. I need to get a hair what is it called? A haircut.
There you go.
There you go.
A single hair.
I was like, which one? Which one do I cut?
Exactly.
Can you critique my comic? I only critique the comics of patrons. It is a Patreon reward tier. It is a critique tier. Okay, that's what's happening today. And I'm sitting up front because goddamn, children.
Children.
Goddamn. I don't know why I'm calling you children today, but there was a lot of scripts this week.
There do be.
There's a lot of long form, actually. It's not just scripts. I have clads, which I'll do off stream because I promised. Even though Clad shouldn't be embarrassed of their script because Clad's got some serious writing chops.
Oh, heck.
Yeah.
Dang.
Clad is 100% lamb chop. Hey, Rider Spider. I'm going to start with either Aces or Oberon. I don't know if Oberon's here, though. But it's not good enough. Been there. Know that feeling. Not as good as I wanted to. Well, damn. Ka-chow. Do you like my sweater, guys?
That's a really good
It's
sweater.
very Christmas. I got antlers. I have like so many sets of antlers because I'm a furry, and like I couldn't decide which ones I wanted because I have these Christmassy ones, and then I have like the classic red Christmassy ones, which I agree with Ursula. They kind of suck, and then I just have my normal antlers for everyday use.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a good kid. It's
Hey,
very cute. Thank you.
hey, Bones McKay.
Hmm?
Could you turn the music down in our ears a little bit?
It's already so down in the ears. It's really low.
There we go.
Gonna turn it up in everyone else's ears.
Yeah.
There you
Thanks,
go.
boo.
My goodness. She has so many needs, doesn't she?
She's a
guys?
needy lady.
She's like... Okay, I should start. Okay,
Okay.
so basically this is the critique stream. You can join the critique stream by pledging $8 a month on Patreon. You have to do it before the critique stream happens. It needs to be a week before if you want long form submitted, like scripts and multiple pages, or you can submit kind of the day before. Or is it? Yeah, it's like the Friday before the stream, and we always stream the last Saturday of the month, except this month because it's what is Saturday this month? Let's look. Oh, look at that. It's the day after Christmas. It's Boxing Day, and I got a box.
Exactly.
I gotta get into boxing matches, as every Canadian does on the day after Christmas. So yeah, if you want to join, that's how you do it. We wouldn't be doing it until the next year, though, in January. Gotta fight. Yeah, put them up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Pow, pow.
So I guess I'll start with Ace, right? Ace is super nervous. I'm super nervous. It's just like I get like anxious about critiquing you, and I can only imagine how anxious you guys get about being critiqued. It's just one circle of like everyone being anxious.
Oh no.
So I read your script. I believe it is Bite Rope. Yes, it's that one.
Oh my
Alright.
god, Bite Rope? That's such a great title.
So I found this one a lot easier to read than your last script. It was a lot easier to follow, so thank you for adding those descriptions. It was definitely a lot easier to kind of picture in my head what was going on. and even beyond that, just like the concepts and things were a lot easier. They were a lot more solid. Like like there was a lot more of a visual component that I could kind of follow with what was going on, I guess. Um yeah. I'm trying to remember because I read the night before as opposed to the hour before. Um and I also could track the plot a bit more and a little bit more of like what you're like trying to accomplish here. Like it was a little more well formed than the last script that I read. Yeah. So okay. I also okay, like on a general level, like on like a big story level, like I don't really love your first scene. However, I want to commend you on the fact that it actually plays out a lot, has a lot stronger arc, like a scene arc, than what I've previously seen and what like tends to be like beginner kind of comic scripts. There was a few scenes like after that where they have like an abrupt ending, but like you actually had like a nice scene arc at the beginning, which I think is good because like there was like a setup, a payoff, and like a hint at like what happens next. Whereas a lot of your other scenes, like Tolly like walking, is it like walking along and then bumping into Bernadette, like that one ended very abruptly, and it was kind of it was it was a little more like yeah, it was just a little more abrupt of an end. I think for like the general sort of like big picture issues I had with things, Tully as a character, I don't understand their motivations, and seem kind of like shifting, and it's a little difficult to follow their personality as well. I think the best example of like not being able to follow things is like you set up running into Bernadette, and then they're looking at the circus pamphlet unimpressed, and then suddenly we're in the next scene and they're at the circus, and like I can't really bridge the gap of like what happened there. So that would be like an example of where I have some difficulty like following Tolly's character, and I don't necessarily know what this is all building to, because I don't know what Tully's motivation is. And like while there's lots of cool stuff going on at the circus and it's very like interesting, and I definitely am intrigued by it and intrigued by your world and where things are going, like I don't really understand the character motivations and what's like pushing them through the story, like what is their desire, and like what's coming in the way of like Tolly's desire. Because right now it's kind of like, oh, we get some blood over here, go to a circus, it's scary at the circus, but it all turns out like okay. And then yeah, you kind of it's just seeing the world, and it's a cool world, but I don't understand why they're moving through it. What if I had to see him before he goes to the circus? like I'm not sure like how you could like specifically fix it. Like gets a crush on Morpheus. I think that could be stronger. Uh, like I kind of get like the scene where he meets Morpheus after the circus is pretty good. Like I think you're like a lot of like the beginning scenes like they feel very unnecessary. Like the scene with like the sex workers like at the beginning, it's like what is this establishing? It's establishing that he's a vampire. I don't really think we need to know that Tully is like a vampire straight up. Like that's an interesting reveal, especially like when you get to the point where he tries to mind control Morpheus. Like it was very clear what was happening in that scene. Like I would, because it's very clearly stated where he's like, why isn't my mind control not working? Like I think that's pretty cool, like, and a pretty good reveal that they're both she has opinions. So they're both like vampires. Like I think that's a really cool double. Okay.
Sorry.
It's a really cool sort of double reveal. Whereas I think all the stuff kind of like leading up to going to the circus is kind of like just not the most exciting way to do things. Like, okay, can you put her away?
Yeah. She's cute.
My goodness, a woo. Because I think about like things that would be like visually interesting. Maybe the first scene I could try to restructure, and the second one is a better opening, or would it be better to start at the circus? I think it might be interesting to start at the circus a bit. Like I think that's a pretty interesting opening. I don't necessarily know if it'll work for like where you want to go, but like I think the circus is pretty interesting. It's just, yeah, like it'll help like if I read like ahead. Like I'd want to read like the next chapter after this if you like submit for critique, like just like summarize if you do any rewrites. But like, yeah, like the circus might be a good opening. I also think like you might want to like take things like a little bit slower as far as introducing character goes as well, because we're introduced to a lot of characters, and you don't really dig deep into them. Like it's fine to like casually meet things. Like if you go to the circus and like he notices like Morpheus, and then he's like has like his uwu like first like kind of like, I see someone who like I'm kind of interested in, and then you might build up like a desire to meet Morpheus. Like that's a bit more of like an active role that Tully can take, where it's just like I see this mysterious man and now I'm kind of like drawn to like meeting him, and then you might go reveal he's a vampire or something. You might reveal that Tully is a vampire in like a similar just scene to the beginning of it. Yeah, like go to multiple performances, or like he goes to the performance and then he notices him like about town or something, and like you start building up the intrigue of like who is this guy, and then you get to the point where Tully finally meets him, and then it turns out that they're both vampires. Like that's a cool twist, where it's just like you just need to take more time to like, it doesn't matter what aspect it is, but like find like one key focus that you want to build up to revealing, and just think about like how you can build to that, whether it's the reveal of Morpheus or it's the reveal of like something else. But like if the romance is something you're interested in, you might want to like build up that suspense. Yeah, like, and I just think it might give like Tully a little more of like an active role. Like I'd also think about giving Tolly something outside of wanting to pursue romance. Like maybe consider like if Tolly has any sort of like character driven things, like seeing a cute boy that also could fulfill that need somehow is also pretty helpful. Maybe he sneaks into the second performance himself as opposed to Bernadette kind of forcing him into. Yeah, that could work too. Like then it gives him a little more agency. Yeah. Yeah, that'd just be my main thing. Like there's pacing problems, but I wouldn't worry about that stuff like right away because it like I don't know how to like give you like good ideas on that. Whereas like I think it's definitely a motivational kind of issue. Yeah. Is there like any other like questions you have about the script and my opinions on it? Cause yeah, like a lot of times you just need to look at the character and be like, why would they do this? And if you can't find like a good reason why this specific character would do this, you need to like add pressure in some way. Like I found that with like a lot of my characters who are reluctant characters are really hard to write. They're really frustrating. Like that's my whole problem with Honey Walls was just like Ro did not want to be a part of this novel. So you need to find ways to pressure them to like get them engaged. Naturally a reader, you want to know who the person is, their motives and wants. Then you find out who the person is, it satisfies the reader's needs. Building that up helps. Yeah, finding character motives is hard. But that, yeah, that's definitely what I feel is missing. I'm just padding time while I wait for like Ace to say anything she wants to. How are you guys? How are you non-Ace people? The aloes. When will your next critique be? The next critique circle is the 30th of January. Same time, same channel. We vibing. We all just vibing.
We do be vibing.
Okay. Oh, okay. What kind of outside motivation would work? Like, if Tully is, for example, trying to leave town and thinks joining the circus could help, would that work as an extra motive? That would be a really perfect motive. In which case, like, if that's his motivation, like, I'd definitely front load your story with that. Like, that's kind of like the opening point. Like, that's literally like magpie though, but like yeah, like show that desire up front so that we get this. Like if he's suspected as a vampire by the church or something, yeah, like put that up front, because yeah, maybe he's suspected to be a vampire and then he gets like vibes from Morpheus that make him kind of interested. Like maybe Bernadette's pitching the circus, right? And he's like, I don't want to do this. And then he sees there's something like off about the circus. And then like having that moment of just like, wait, what's going on is enough for Bernadette to like drag him along. Because even that will give him a little bit more agency where you're like, okay, he's kind of interested in this and he just needs a push from someone outside. And then the second time he's like straight up going on his own, like that would be building it up. Like just more and more breadcrumbs. But yeah, that's a good idea. Like, yeah. I should be working on comics, but I had too much coffee and I'm bouncing my seat. I like your ideas, Ace. Yeah, those are pretty good ideas. So yeah, anything that would build that up, it would be good. I need to figure out how to do those YouTube chapter things so that we can separate all you guys' critiques.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful, I'm sure.
Any more questions, Ace? I'm chilling because we don't have that much. I'm worried that I'm gonna write the next draft and it'll be just as bad. Don't worry about it, okay? Like, there's a lot better in this draft as compared to like your previous writing. Like, you keep getting better, okay?
Yeah, don't get in your own way.
Even when I'm reading this story that's in front of me, I could totally see readers loving it, okay? Like, even as it is, with like its flaws or whatever, like I could see it in your style and it'd be totally engaging and interesting. So yeah, no matter what, like, just keep moving forward. Keep writing, keep doing good, okay?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, timestamps would be helpful. Timestamps in the video description. Okay, I need to figure that out. I will try. All right. Okay, so the next story that I read is Oberon. I don't think Oberon's here. If they show up at some point after the fact, you just point them back and they can listen, and maybe I can add more if they have questions. Oh, Oberon is here. Okay.
Oh.
Okay, good.
Hello.
All right. So, kind of looking back at like Aza's story, like I find some sort of similar things. Wait, okay, I should talk good first. I forget. Okay. I like the visuals of this story. Like, I'm just reading the script and I'm visualizing it and I'm loving the character designs. I'm loving this kind of unique world that you're building up. I like that they're going on like adventures. Adventures are cool. Like, it's a very active story, which I like. It feels like it's moving forward, which is good because there's a lot of stories kind of just get stuck, like just meandering, and there's not a lot of that. I can tell that you have a lot of character stuff planned out and that you know your characters very well and that you can write some pretty good dialogue between them. And yeah, your dialogue is pretty strong. Like, it's pretty good. And there's like a good conflict. Like, I like that your main character does have something that they want and that they're trying to achieve. Like, I think that's very good. Yeah. So now I'll be negative. Or constructive, right? This is the constructive criticism portion. With all that being said, like, I have found reading this that it felt like stepping into a story during the middle of it, where a lot of these big concepts are not kind of well explained up front, because you do have a very unique world and magic systems within it, and like you have all these different fantasy races, and going straight into a story and immediately we're like, okay, there's these fantasy races, but now we're dealing with interpersonal drama related to cultural traditions of society that we don't really have a bearing on. So like when he's having trouble with like growing flowers in his antlers, it's like, oh cool, like whatever, like it doesn't mean a lot to me. um like antlers. But like it doesn't mean a lot to me. Like I don't like understand like that he's like out of his depth. Like I don't quite have all of that like groundwork ready, right? Um and in addition to like building up the world, at the same time there hasn't been a lot of time to like build up the characters as well, where like yeah, I tend to info dump. But with this one I just went the other way. Yeah, like you're trying to find a middle ground, like that's fine. Like I understand. Um we all go there. Um uh cuz like I think you have like a good setup. Like I think if you want to just go to the wedding and have things, like I think that's a good setting, and I think that would be a good place to set up things, because like I don't quite understand like how the antler horn thing works, but like starting in like um a wedding will just like show you a bunch of characters and really like introduce them. Like don't go like headlong into the main problem right away. Like you need to give us time to like meet the characters and understand the main characters' motivations. um I also found that your main character, while they do have like a little bit of struggle, um I found that at the end of most scenes, instead of there being a rising tension and more pressure put on your character, it tended to be like every scene would end, and was it William or Edward? I'm so bad with names. Yeah, it's William, like is reassured that everything is okay and that we can do this and figure it out. Where like I appreciate that in real life to like comfort your friends and stuff, but like we need pressure on William to change, because right now he like is completely reassured by Edward all the time. He goes to like the way that it's set up, it's like when Will is first talking to Amelia, the way that it's set up, it sounds like Will and Edward aren't really together yet, and you play a little too coy with things where you're like, you know who, wink wink nudge nudge. Like I don't think you necessarily need to hide that name, especially if it's going to show up in the next thing. It'd be more advantageous to be like, oh, I've seen you and Edward hanging around a lot, because then it actually gets it into the mind that like Edward is the person we're looking for. And we might not necessarily know who Edward is when we look upon the crowd, but like we'd have the seed of like, okay, he's into this guy named Edward. Oh, Edward has appeared. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, everything just goes too well for Will. We need more pressure on Will, you know? Like his life is hard, like just let it be hard. And let him feel that pressure. And like yeah, that would be better. Yeah. Like I don't want to like dictate how your story goes and how you go about putting pressure, but like I think you have like a pretty easy setup to do a will they won't they kind of relationship. Like we could build, because like it seems like they're not together yet. Like why don't you push them back a little bit more, where like yeah, they're like hanging out and clearly flirting, but like neither of them want to admit it, so like Edward doesn't do the comforty supporty thing, like push him away or something. I don't know, like he doesn't have to be like a total like dick to him by any means, but like yeah, like yeah, there needs to kind of be that pressure. And just slow down. Just in general, I think if you slow down a lot, like by chapter 3, we're already like on like a big kind of like quest. We're looking for things. We're meeting like a whole other group of people. We're meeting humans for the first time, and like I haven't been in this world long enough to even know that humans are such a shocking twist. Like I know it was casually mentioned in one of the conversations, but because it was so dense, I missed a lot. Because yeah, like info dumping can be a trouble. And the best way to kind of deal with it is to think like, where do you like need to get to, and like figure out all the information that needs to be told. Like what is like 100% needed to be told. Like we need to understand like how horns and flowers work. We need to understand that there's multiple races here. We need to understand like humans is weird or something. I don't even know if we need to necessarily know that. It might just be a reveal when you actually get to a human and they're like, whoa, this is weird. Like that can be a way of explaining that. Love your sweater, thank you. But yeah, like and then on like a character level, we need to know who all of these people are. What do they want? Like how do they fit in with each other? Like what are their relationships? And when you break down all that, you might have a very long list, but it gives you like an idea. Like then you have to put it in order of like information of like one after the other, like what needs to be told. Like the first thing is probably like introduce this character, and then maybe the next scene you make sure to like focus on introducing like one or two of these concepts. And then by the time you get to but by the time you get to like showing plot or whatever, like by the time you get to people making fun of him for not having like flowers in his antlers, like we understand like what that means. Or like you can even have people make fun of him for it as a way to explain it, but then you'd have to continue to put pressure. You can't just like have one instance of prejudice occur and then have that be the catalyst to go forward and go on an adventure to change things. You need to put like a little more pressure to get them out the door. Yeah. Because yeah, it'd be like, because you need to get to the inciting incident, but you need to have like a stable sense of normalcy before you get that, before you change everything. Like you need to have everything like built together, and your reader understands how things work, so that when you flip the table, they're like, ah, no, my table. You can't just like walk into a room and flip a table, because they're not invested in this table. I thought the scene where they were dancing would explain it well, the flowers and horns thing. The problem with that, like the problem with them dancing, where I kind of got the flower and horns thing, is that because you're trying to do so much in that one scene, like this is introducing them as characters. Like this is the first introduction of like these people together. So like I'm focusing on that, and then I see world building stuff and I'm like, oh no, my brain hurts. Like I need to like I'm trying. You can't put two very important things in the exact same scene as their main introduction. Like you can't establish like I'm trying to think of like an example of like how it would kind of be like but yeah, you can't have two really big things being introduced at the exact same time. Like you can technically, like I guess you can Well, no, like that. Okay, sorry. You can like hint at other things. You can hint at the broader world, but like whatever your main scene is, whatever's like really important, like you don't want to put like this concept and like this character. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because yeah, they need to understand the table before they can go about doing things.
Gotta understand that
Yeah.
table, guys.
Okay. Do you have like any other questions? I don't want to overwhelm you with too many concepts at once.
Oh heck.
We gotta have the writing table. You say that the pacing was a bit fast. Yes, it was very quick. I can tell because it was very confusing. So that tends to be meaning the pacing is fast. I don't know if the scene pacing was too fast. It was just a lot of information that you need to give more time to breathe. And yeah, I guess it did feel very quick to like get to moving around and doing things on an adventure. Yeah. Let things breathe. Because like you also start the thing with him having like flying in on an airplane, and the airplane, like maybe it's like means something symbolically and that's fine, but like having a whole scene where it's just like, oh, you have an airplane, like what is that built, like how is that helping like give lots of information? Because like just saying like I have, just seeing him fly in on an airplane is enough. Like we don't need to like signpost it so much. Do you get a feel of where the story is going? I get that they're going on kind of like, it's almost like it feels like it's going to be some sort of self-discovery quest. Like I don't quite understand how the world works. Like it's interesting, but I feel like an outsider to it. Because they're going with like the compass, and yeah, I'm not quite sure. So you get the time period. The time period just doesn't seem like as important as like everything else. Like I think you can get time period across very quickly in a shorthand way, because that would be something that readers understand already, looking at something and understanding like what time period it is. Because like even if it's fantasy, if it's following like a similar time period to like our world, like we'll get it. You only really have to signpost things that are very different, like in steampunk, like just showing like well, I guess this was before steampunk was a big genre, but like you'd show the Victorian world, but like you'd have to explain that there's like all this like steampunk technology going on as well, and that needs more attention than establishing a Victorian era, which everyone can just see like the outfits and the buildings and be like, oh, that's where we are. And I don't mind like seeing his airplane as an opening, like that's fine. It was also very pretty. It just like focusing in on that was a bit much. Yeah, it's a good aesthetic. Like I agree. Like I think if you can work it in, it's cool. It might, like again, I don't know the full story, so like it might be very good, like symbolic aesthetically to set up things. It's just like continuing that into like a long kind of drawn out scene is where I'm like, this is kind of wasting your time, where it could be spent better elsewhere. Because if you're just showing the plane going in and then they arrive and like maybe you could work the scene to make it good. Like you are a dragon on a gold mine of opportunities. So like don't worry about it. But yeah. I think that's all I have to say. I think that's all my words. Um Unless you have like other questions. I go really in depth.
You do.
Yeah. Long forms pay off.
It's true.
Yeah, I think I have any questions. All right. Your friendly neighborhood reindeer is gonna leave now.
He's gonna jingle away.
Jingle all the way away.
Let me grab some water and then I will start my little art critique.
Okay, so
Sorry.
Your reindeer is staying.
He's staying for like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes of reindeer. I'm gonna go and probably type up what I have to say to Clyde. You'll get like the short and sweet version of me that's less rambly. Thanks, Bones. I don't know if in the new year we're gonna do private critiques, because it does get kind of difficult to like carve out different blocks. We might make it like a higher tier where you can just like video call with us for like an hour and we'll chat. We'll chat your story. But yeah. All right, Ursula's here. I can leave you.
Get out of here, Raider boy. Oh yeah, give me some antlers. The silly one. There you go. Oh, I'm in the camera heightened. I'm so sorry. Okay, there we go. I must have a tall torso or something. Oh no, you know what it is? Bones like sits way down in his chair.
Yeah.
He's like slouched, like mad, and I sit tall. Otherwise, I'd throw out my back because I am an old woman. Okay, so who wants to be my first victim? So we have oh, yes. Yes. Okay. I also need to open these. These work. 'Cause I forgot to do that. Where is it? There we go. Okay. So let's see. Hex is here? Okay, we'll start with you, Hex. You can be the first victim. There we go. Okay. Oh. Sorry. There we are. There's me. There's me. Hello. There we go. Okay. Sorry, everyone. I'm so unprepared. I'm not used to going second. Okay. Here we go. I'm also sorry if my voice sounds weird. I messed up my throat yesterday by eating pineapple and inhaling it by accident. So, how do you guys submit for critique? So if you want to submit something for critique, whether it's your script or some art or comic pages, you have to join our Patreon at the $8 tier. And next month you can submit your stuff for the January critique stream. There should be a link to the Patreon down below if you're interested. Okay. The first victim has been chosen. Yes. Okay. Okay, Hex. Let's look at your lovely artwork. The first one, oh right, so you did these dance studies. Yeah, I remember you submitted a similar one previously, but you've done some new ones. Okay, the OC is Mika. Okay. So, looking at these, again, I like I think I said this the last time, but I really like how dynamic all of the poses are. I really like. I find the poses. The reason they're dynamic is you have a lot of like opposing angles going on in the poses. I submitted the first two back when I did them. Okay. Yeah, because some of them looked familiar. But yeah, but I really like how dynamic they are. Like this one, for example, where he's kind of doing they're doing this like S curve thing with their arms and back. That creates like a very dynamic line through the figure. And I find that all over. Like, is it contrapposto? Is that the one where the shoulders and the hips go in like opposite angles? Anyways, so yes, you've got some good posing going on throughout all the dancing. And yeah, and a big part of that is just the through lines of each pose is like very dynamic. It's going in different angles. You've got cool curves going on. Yeah, it looks really great. I think you've also done a really good job with modeling your forms. I think that's something you really excel at. Like, I like how you've used the way you've like added the hair on their body to like as a way to kind of make the forms feel fuller. I find like their pants and stuff kind of feel very flat just because there's no like detail and folds and stuff in them. But obviously these feel like dancing studies. But for future, if you're doing if you're turning this into something else, folds are scary. You gotta do them. I think you can do it. Like, start with reference and then go from there, because you're really good at like capturing the form, and folds are just a way to really accentuate the structure of something, which is scary when you're first starting, but it's really fun once you get into it. I love drawing folds on clothing. It creates such visual interest. And yeah, and whenever you do it, like, you're doing good. Like, you've got these nice folds on the hoodie. Like, I think you got it. I think you can do this, Hex. Yeah, everything feels really well proportioned. There's a couple little weird anatomy things. I think part of it is just because you've left these pants kind of flat. Like, this leg looks a little funky, but it could just be it looks a little funky because I'm not seeing the structure underneath of it. So yeah, and there's little things like that, but you've done a really good job with like placing the feet, the structure of everything. I like the expressions you've got going on with the character. Like, it adds a lot of emotion to the dance. Like I noticed in the first two, it's very just kind of a flat smile, but I like how you've got like a silly smile on them, and then they're doing like a wink in the smile and stuff. Like, I like the trying out different things. I also really like the hands in here. Like, I know they're very gestural and kind of like motion blurred, which is good. Like, that's a really good effect to make it feel very like full of movement. But I really like what you've done with the foreshortening on the fingers, like curving up and toward the camera. I think that's really great. But yeah, I think you've done a really good job with capturing the form and the movement. I guess, yeah, things to work on in the future. I think adding folds to clothing, and I'd say with your lines, I would like to see if you can do some more like more confident line work, because I see there's lots of like sketching and going over the same line a bunch. I'd love to see if you could do like some really just like using one line on things, because you've got such strong structure. I'd really like to see like you play around with line work and stuff. Hell yeah. Do you have any questions on that one, Hex? Folds are scary, but it turned out okay. It turned out really good. I really like these. I hate line work. That's why I don't do it. You gotta do it. You've got so much potential in your line work. I would love to see it. Oh, welcome back, Skittle. No questions? Okay. Awesome. Okay. I did appreciate the inclusion of the cat. I know it's not part of the design, but it did bring me joy. I just prefer sketchy style. That's totally fair. I can't make you do anything, but I love bold line work. So maybe I'm just being selfish, and I'm like, do the art I like. Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so this is a D&D. Okay, so this is a D&D character. This is Virtue. They are an Azimar cleric. I sure do know D&D things. Okay, so I think you just wanted general feedback and like character vibes. I made the conscious decision to stick with it because doing clean line work makes me frustrated. Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Okay. Okay. So looking at this character, I really like I like the color palette for one. I love a good, it's a celestial blood thing. Okay. Okay, cool. So I like the color scheme. I love a good mint and dusty rose. That is 10 out of 10. Great. Just in general, first impressions, what you think they're like. Okay. So this character seems very like, I see them as being very kind of serious and like maybe like a little spacey or dreamy type vibe, like very straight-faced and maybe kind of off in their own head a little bit sometimes. off on a celestial plane somewhere. So yeah, so that's kind of the vibe I get, and they seem very serious. They seem like I see you've drawn them like smiling and stuff, so I'm sure they're like nice and can be happy and stuff and can be expressive, but they seem very like a muted personality type thing, if that makes sense. Yeah, and I get that because in most of the drawings you have of them, they've got a very like neutral facial expression. I feel like I get the dreamy vibe from like the hair, and maybe even the color palette is kind of spacey. But yeah, I definitely get this like cloud feel from their hair. And it definitely makes them feel like celestial. But yeah, but I really like the face. Like they have this very like gentle look to their face. It's very delicate. And I like how elongated everything is on them. Like from the ears to like the face and the nose. They like the shapes you've used in their outfit feel very like tall and long. A very serious, disciplined upbringing, so they're pretty serious. Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so I like the shapes that you're using. I like this kind of wing aesthetic you have going through, like on their heels and like on their belts and stuff, and you can see it in their hair. I think that's nice. I like the little touches of like the circles, the little embroidery on their shirt. I think that's a nice way to kind of like subtly bring the fluffiness through the design, and I like the very straight, like long lines through the outfit that give that very kind of like serious, like, yeah, disciplined kind of feel to it. I like the contrast between the hair and like the green skin. I think the contrast could be pushed. It's hard, especially when you want a character who has like a very light color scheme, but I think just like heightening the values, like the value contrast a little bit, whether that's like making this pink like even closer, like lighter, closer to white, and then maybe I don't know if you'd have to change like the sleeves and the greens and stuff, but like just heightening that contrast a little bit, whether it's like lightening some things or darkening some things, I think that can really like make things pop, especially because you've got this like great contrast between the skin and the hair. So seeing more of that through the design, I think would be very lovely. Yeah. But overall, very good. I especially like this face that you've drawn here. Like, I think the loose line work you have works really well on this hair. It makes it feel really light and fluffy. And I like how you've done like kind of stronger lines on the face and the eyes to make them stand out more. But yeah, very structured, very good. Might play around with the outfit colors still. The outfit itself isn't final yet anyways. Oh, okay. But yeah, I really like it. I like it a lot. Cool. Do you have any other questions, Hex? Oh, I also like how they have like sparkly freckles. I think that's cute. That's a cute touch. That also makes them feel very like dreamy and celestial. I love the antlers as well. Thank you. It's Christmas. No questions? Okay, cool. And then this is another D&D character, I believe. Yes. He's a drow warlock, probably. Okay. And he doesn't have a name yet. Okay. So first impressions for this character, I mean, I get a little hint that he's kind of a ditz. But yeah, he seems a little ditzy. He seems kind of laid back, easygoing, kind of silly. Again, I really like the color scheme. I like kind of the reddy, purpley, like gray, I guess, to his skin. Like I like how it's kind of like purple red toned. And I like the mix of that with the really pale hair at the end tail. I love the tail. Living for it. But yeah, I think the color scheme works really well. It's very subtle. I really like it with the lighter robes or clothing that he's wearing. I don't know if you intend to add more, but I do really like that stark contrast between like the light colors and then the dark skin. The fluffy pink hair is lovely. It is. I really like it. I also like the expression. That's really cute. I also like his expression on this kind of like full body sketch you've done. I find in this more detailed version of his face, he loses some of that kind of like silliness that I kind of see in the other drawings of him. I think part of it is like he's got very rounded features here, but here things are kind of like sharpened up, and maybe like pulling back a little bit on that sharpness would really help kind of keep him as this like ditzy character if that's like where it's going. The clothes are no specific design and colors yet. Okay, I really like the white or the light color, so that's my vote. I think that's a really good contrast thing. Obviously, like you can put in like little details that are darker, but I vote for some light colored robes. But yeah, but I also find that in the 2 close-ups you've done of him, I feel like he loses some of the character he has in this sketch. Because here you've drawn him like he's got a very round face. Like I can tell this is just like a quick sketch to get the full body down, but he's got like, I like how he's got this really skinny neck and arms and like waist and stuff. And then he's got this like really fluffy tail and like big fluffy hair. And his clothing is a lot more kind of rounded out and flowy. And I like the contrast between like the skinniness of his limbs and then the roundness of like his face and his outfit and his hair. Whereas I find in these close-ups, like his neck is thicker. You still have the roundness in this one, but like he just looks more like thicker or muscular, I guess, than in this little sketch. So I don't know if which way you're going with this character, but I do really like the contrast in the full body. And I kind of like the bigger hair as well. The face was the first thing I drew. Oh, okay. But yeah, I like that contrast of like the roundness and the kind of skinny connecting bits. I think it's a really interesting body shape. That's it. Yeah. I'm leaning more towards keeping the little noodly. Yeah, I like the noodliness mixed with the roundness. I think that it creates a very interesting vibe. And I think it also highlights his ears. So there we go. But yeah, I'm loving the color scheme. I'm liking the direction of the body shapes and the colors and stuff. I draw a lot of buffer OCs, so I think it's a challenge to keep them that's fair. That's fair. You could do it. I believe in you. You're good with your structure of things. I think you can do it. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like feedback on for this guy? He cute. I love the tail. I'm living for it. I'm also a softie for characters that have like pink hair and pink details. I'm a little biased. I do love pink. Making sure to drink lots of water so I don't destroy my voice as well. Reminds me of a puppy dog. I have to come up with a reason for the tail because elves don't usually have those. Okay. Guys, we need more elves with tails. I know it's D&D, so there's like set rules, but where are the elves with tails? Hello? Oops. Okay, awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for submitting, Hex. It's unrelated, but when drawing out action scenes, how long should it be? It depends, unfortunately, is the answer. Sometimes you have a really long action scene, sometimes you have a really short one. It really just depends on what information you're trying to convey. So I'm sorry for that kind of disappointing answer. I would say thumbnail it out, like sketch it out, and then get feedback on it. Like on these streams, for example. Yeah, because sometimes you just have to like see it to tell if the pacing is like too fast or too short, or yeah, too fast or too slow. I got it? Okay, cool. Everything is better with tails. Exactly. Maybe elves with tails can help decipher what species or type the elves are. Yes. It does fit his vibe. It's a really good vibe. To just have a little fluffy tail. No thoughts. Wag's tail. Hello. Okay, I think there's only 2 left to do on stream. There's one I'm doing in private. So we have Cole, who I saw is here. And we also have V. I don't know if V is here. Who would like to go next? I drew it as a joke. It's like, you know what? Sometimes that's character design. Cole? Okay, let's do this, Cole. Okay. So I was looking through your comic. To start off, I really like I went and checked back on like the last time you submitted. And I was checking like the colors between the last chapter you submitted and this one. And I really like what you've done with the color of the trees in the background. They're more like they pop more, they're more vibrant, and I think they fit with the colors of the characters a bit more. It kind of helps with contrast a little bit. So I think you've done a really good job there. And I think I'm not exactly sure what has changed. I think you've added a bit more vibrancy to your colors where they feel a bit more balanced. They feel less kind of grayed out than before, which is awesome because I know that's some feedback I gave last time. So I think you're doing a good job with your colors. I think there's still some contrast issues like value-wise, like sometimes the characters kind of blend into the background a little bit. Like I think you've brought the vibrancy of all the colors up, but I think you still need to get that kind of light and dark contrast going. It's hard because it's a night scene, so you want like things to be dark, but you still have to like keep that heightened contrast. So yeah, I'd recommend either lightening up your backgrounds a little bit and then darkening your characters a bit, or vice versa, darkening your backgrounds and lightening up the characters a little bit. Just to keep that contrast so no one's blending into the background. So because like Val's hair here kind of blends in with the blue purple in the background there, just because of the value of the colors. So yeah, just something to watch out for in the future. But overall, I think your colors are getting more vibrant and really good. I also like a lot of the lighting you're using on the characters, like you're defining the shapes a lot with this very like soft brush, like on like Vel's arm and chest and face and stuff. You got like some good lighting going on that I really like. It's nice and like subtle, and I feel like it fits the shapes of your style a lot, so I really like it, and I'd love to see more of it. So yeah, really good work there. I've been working on it. Nice. It's paying off. It's working out really well. But yeah, but I like a lot of the kind of highlights you've added to things. Oh, I really like the background on this panel here. So one thing I was noticing while reading through this, I think it's mostly on the first half that you showed us. It pops up a little at the end there. But I noticed on some of the backgrounds here, you've used a really thick line on the background art and a thinner line on the character art. It's very apparent in this panel in particular, but I find it brings a lot of attention to the background and I think it's bringing more attention than you want. Where the thicker a line is, it conveys like closeness to the camera. So I like what you've done in part of this background where you've like darkened out trees in the background, as the farther back it goes, they lose line art, which I think does create depth. But I find like this tree here and these trees in the front and these hills, like the lines are just so thick that they distract from the characters who have these very thin lines. So yeah, so I'd recommend just switching it, give backgrounds kind of thinner lines and foreground stuff thicker lines. But yeah, but I really like this background here for the things I was saying, where you've really like blurred things out. They get darker as they go back, whereas they're a little bit brighter up front. And I think you've created like some nice depth in this panel here, and I really like it. And the characters pop out because they're lined, the background isn't, and there's some good contrast going on. So yeah, I really like this panel here. You did a really good job. As usual, your flow is really good. Like, it's really easy to read. Oh, there's one typography issue here, where your sound effect or speech bubble is blending in with the background. So I would either make that text white or put a speech bubble around it or something. But yeah, so looking at the second page, I liked... Oh, there's that typography thing again. So just make sure that has high contrast. I didn't fix that for the critique. Okay, I was wondering if it was just like saving it for later, but yeah. Yeah, but I liked going through it when you talked about the different, I guess, like, kingdoms. I liked the variation in color, and I liked how distinct all of the architecture was. Like the Kingdom of Aventor. I like how it's all like red and dark, and it's very sharp and kind of ominous and scary. They're like right next to a volcano. I like how visually distinct everything is. Whereas like you look at the other side of the island, it's very green. Where the first one is very like tall and imposing, this is very like spread out. It's very green. I like what you did with the architecture, where it's like they all have these like triangle homes. Where like you're using triangles for both of these, for like the big castle beside the volcano, and then these like kind of smaller homes, but like they still feel very different. Like these feel very sturdy, whereas this feels very like ominous. So I really like the visual distinction between the different worlds, and then like there's the caves that are very like blue and purple and very rounded off, which I really like. So I think you did a really good job with visually making those distinct. But yeah, really great work. I'm also digging these clouds in the background here. That's really nice. Good texturing. But yeah, you actually do a lot of really cool texture stuff with your work. Like, I don't know if I've talked about them before, but I really like what you do with like the gravel and the trees and like the cloud, and like you'll texture backgrounds and stuff. I think that's really cool. I think that's a cool thing you do with your comics. Sorry, just thinking. Yeah, I think that was the main stuff. Yeah, because the flow works. I really like the distinct kingdoms. Yeah, there's just that background issue again on the second page, where the background is very thickly lined, and then the it feels a little imbalanced with the line work. Is it any better reading wise? Do you mean like visually reading it? Are you talking about like the writing side? Because visually it's very easy to follow. Like it's easy to tell who's speaking. I think you've done a good job of like letting the typography breathe. Like all of the bubbles work really well. Yeah, it was very easy to read. And very legible. Like I like how you have the characters like floating above so they can be like expressive while they're talking. Like I like how she makes like the little triangle with her hands. I think that's cute. But yeah, typography wise, it's really easy to read. There's just those two little contrast issues. Yeah. The writing side, is it too much of an info dump? It is a lot of information. Up front. Cause like, yeah, cause she mentions how, yeah, she mentions at first how she's here to get something from the apothecary. So I thought initially when that's introduced, I thought that she was like, okay, well, I'll help you go find this apothecary or whatever and like help you get through town because the town folk don't like trolls and stuff. And then it felt a little weird to go into all of the kingdoms. That felt like something that maybe should come later when Val's a bit more like immersed in this new world. Like I think it's fine to like hint that there's 3 kingdoms. Like I think that causes intrigue, especially because you've got these like really unique settings that I like seeing. But I think maybe chopping it down to say like there's 3 kingdoms and the like I get why you're explaining why people don't like trolls in this part that she's in right now. Where like I can understand getting an explanation for that, but saying like the kingdoms, you know, you can cut it down to like the kingdoms are at war and the trolls won't let people pass through the mountain. Under the mountain, and going over is like dangerous, and so that's why people don't like us here. So I think just cutting down the exposition would really help, and keeping it and I think it'll add intrigue too, because you'll see these like cool kingdoms that maybe you'll get to travel to later. You get an explanation of like why people aren't very friendly to the trolls, and then you can continue with the current part of the story where they're on their way to help her get what she needs from town. Yeah. So I think that's it. I think it just needs to be trimmed down a little bit. They're traveling to those kingdoms. Okay, so I think because they're traveling to them, you can do a quick intro of like maybe the names, and it just explained like the situation with the war and the trolls, and then the rest of this exposition with like the volcano and like how the houses are built, and like information on all these places, like that can kind of happen as they're traveling to them, as it comes up kind of naturally. And I think that peppering it throughout, it's like it's like I think Brandon Sanderson, when he talks about world building, he says that like exposition is like spinach that you're trying to like get your kids to eat. So instead of like giving them a plate full of spinach that they're gonna like, oh, I don't want to eat all this, what you do is you chop it up and you put it in like a smoothie that's full of like all this other tasty stuff. Chopping up the spinach and hiding it in the food is how you can dole out like big world building exposition like that, so that it's a little easier to stomach instead of having like a big plate of spinach. Yeah. So yeah, so that would be my advice. I also really liked the kind of, I love stories where characters from different worlds meet and they kind of have like fish out of water moments where they're like, what is that? So I like when she summons the light bug or lightning bug, yeah. And she's like, what? You can't do that spell? And she's like, no, we don't have any of that where I come from. So yeah, I thought that was really cute. And it's little like world building things like that where it's like, what? Everyone can summon that. That I think is a really good way to like fit in exposition where it comes across as like natural because you're getting character with it as well. Hopefully that makes sense. The adventuring music is fitting for the comic. I agree. Food and comic advice, exactly. You can get your greens and your exposition. So yeah, Cole, let me know if you have any other questions. Good, thank you. Okay, awesome. Cool. So then, provided there's no other questions, Cole, we have V. V, are you here? Are you here to talk about your comic? Oh, hey, Andy. Welcome. Just trying to find V's comments here. You're good? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for submitting, Cole. Okay. So for V, so it's a third batch of 10 pages. Okay. I'm gonna be brave and ask for anatomy critique. Okay. Tips for rigid poses and tips for how to make the action scenes more effective and dynamic. Okay. So, looking through these, okay, so when I was looking through these, V, panel-wise and like composition-wise, I think you do a lot of cool dynamic stuff with these. Like, I like this initial one where you see kind of things going poorly with the two dancers and then with the coaches, or you see the coaches in the foreground and then you see like the dancers in the background. Like, I like the way that's framed, where you're getting two stories at the same time. And compositionally, it's just well placed. And yeah, and I really like this page as well. I like how you set the scene with the stage they're going into. I think I would recommend moving it up a little bit, just to get a really good look at the stage, because part of it is like kind of covered up and it's like important information that you need for this like fight that's gonna happen. So yeah, I'd recommend pulling it up so that it's in full view and it's not being blocked by the facial expressions. But I really like the page composition overall, where I like him saying like good luck and then the two of them facing off. I think that's a really great composition. It's very dynamic. I found some of the action pages and panels hard to read. Like, I liked some of them. The ones where you really pulled back and showed a lot of the body and did these kind of pulled back shots, it was a lot easier to understand. Yeah, whereas like some of the closer up ones were definitely a lot harder to read what was going on. So like I really like this first one where she like parries him. I like this one where he like runs past her and she gets cut. I think that was really good. I like this top one here where she's like twirling around and stuff. I think that's just got a nice composition and it's very dynamic. But yeah, the pulled out ones I think are really effective. And this one too as well, where it has lots of room to breathe. Whereas I find, yeah, the ones that are like pulled tighter, they're harder to understand kind of what's going on. Like I found in this first page it was hard to tell what's going on. In the first panel you can see because they're facing off. They're starting to twirl and stuff. But I found like here at the bottom, the panels are the weighting of them is weird. So a lot of the panels are given, how do I explain this? I find some of the panels that need more space and have more visual information for them are the same size as panels that don't need a lot of weight or information. So for example, these 3 bottom panels here where you've got oh shoot, I can't remember his name. You have the brother who's cheering on his sister Elle, and like this, I feel like it should be a tiny little call out panel, or at least smaller in comparison to these important scenes with Elle dancing and like maneuvering past her opponent and stuff and twirling and her opponent getting angry. Like this needs more space so I can understand what's going on. Because like with her running past her opponent, like she's really shoved off to the side, her opponent's really off to the side. I can't really tell like where they are. And I wish there was just more room to read where she's like gone past him and she's like twirling and stuff and doing the dance part, like, and he's like angry in the background. Like I'd love to be able to see that and feel that tension more. Whereas like a little call out where he's like, yeah, cheering on his sister, like that could be a little call out. And Sam, I think there's some reaction shots, like these panels at the bottom here where like she's got this big reaction, and then a panel where she's doing a lot of movement, like she's leaping across like a bunch of platforms, like it's the same weight, whereas I feel like a reaction where she's like maybe struggling or dodging like could be smaller. I'd also recommend pulling it out because I didn't quite understand she was dodging a blow from him here. So yeah, so I think things just need to be pulled out so the action can be easier to read, and I think some of the panels need to be reweighted so that you can fit more information into them. They have room to breathe. Yeah, because I like what you've done up here where you've got this like small call out reaction from the opponent and then you see him attacking. I think that's really effective. And the reaction of like the coach really works, and I think that's like a good size panel. But yeah, these two at the bottom I think need more room. They might even need another page. Yeah, this page I think was good. I think it's just suffering because I don't understand where they are, really, because the previous page didn't quite set that up as much as it needs to. But I found here, like, the action's easy to read. Like, he climbs up behind her, he swings at her, and then he runs past her. And she gets cut, and there's a nice little reaction and stuff. So I really like this page. Yeah, same with the ones at the bottom here. Like, I find it hard to tell, like, where she is, or because, like, I know from how the scene ends, she's, like, going higher up. But yeah, but I find it really difficult to kind of tell what's going on in this page, just because everything's, like, in these tiny little panels. I don't understand, like, where they are in relationship to each other. It gets a bit easier on this page. Again, I think it would help if I understood that the opponent had gotten up onto a platform on the previous page, but I think this page itself works well because you can see kind of where they all are. You can follow the movement. Yeah, and I think this also suffers from just not understanding where characters are. I'd also recommend... Yeah, honestly, with this page, I might break it out into a couple pages because you have some really important stuff going on. Because you have, like, the opponent dodging, then you have her tripping and falling and landing. And I think, like, her losing this match and getting hurt, like, those are really big moments in this. And I think they might benefit from, like, being... pulled apart into different pages to give them more impact. So I might have the maneuver happen and then end the page with her, like, teetering over the edge, and then do a page of her maybe falling and landing, and see how that plays out. You could even, like, separate the falling and the landing to give it more impact. Yeah, because I think it just feels a little rushed on this page, and I'd really recommend, like, pulling it out and making it like, drawing it out and giving it more of the impact it has. Because, like, I like this reaction page, especially the first two panels where they're like, oh my god, L. So yeah, I think just the fall and the action stuff just needs to breathe more. Yeah, and I think it ends really well, where you've got a good variety of, like, different shots. It's very moody. Yeah, so I think it's just the action needs to be kind of pulled out more, like I was saying a bunch. As for the anatomy and stuff, like you were saying, like poses and anatomy, I do agree there are some that are pretty stiff. I found your action stuff was really good. Like, I found the different poses they were doing as they're, like, dancing and stuff and fighting are really dynamic. I didn't find a lot of the, like, stiffness problems with them. I found, honestly, they're not that stiff except for maybe the first page, where I find they're the way maybe the first two panels feel a little bit stiff, but everything else feels like has good dynamic posing. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. As for anatomy and stuff, I think there's, like, some little things you could change. Like, they all feel like they have very similar body types. Yeah, where I think you need to, like, do some small things like broadening the coach's shoulders. For example, he does have very, like, thin shoulders. It works with Elle because, like, I know she's younger. So having, like, narrower shoulders does make her feel younger, whereas, like, some of the fellas maybe need, like, broader shoulders and, like, bigger chests and stuff, just to get, like, a bit of a difference in body type. And I'd recommend that for every one of them, just, like, pushing their body type a little bit more so that they're kind of easier to tell apart. And I think doing some reference studies and stuff with like different body types could also help with like kind of solidifying your anatomy stuff. Yeah, I think there's just some little things are off. Like I find the necks are very thick, whereas the shoulders are very narrow on a lot of them. And I also found in some of the pictures, some of the panels, sometimes the characters' torsos were very long. So like for example, for this first panel, he has like a very long, he doesn't have a very long like chest area, but he's got a very long like kind of hip waist area. So yeah, so I would recommend watching out for that. It wasn't so bad in the fight scenes, but again, just when characters were standing, I found that some of the anatomy issues came out. But when you're doing like these dynamic poses, I find like your anatomy works really well. So I'm not sure if that's because you're doing referencing or it's forcing you to like kind of change the way you're looking at like the different body positions and stuff. Like I'm not sure, but yeah. So that's just something to keep in mind, like maybe grabbing some reference or something for like people just standing in neutral poses. But yeah, but overall, I didn't find anything like really glaring or terrible, especially in the fight scenes. I think you did a really good job with that. You're doing a lot of cool stuff with like foreshortening and dynamic poses, so I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. Yeah, so hopefully that is helpful. That's what I call a dance fight. It's actually called dance in the script. But yeah, I think you did a really good job, V. I don't know if you're here. I haven't seen any comments from you, but really great job. Really excited to see your comic coming together. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is everything. For this stream. I believe. Just double check. I haven't missed anything. We've just got the private critiques we're doing. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, if you would like your stuff critiqued next time, please sign up for our Patreon. And next month you can submit your comics, your scripts, your character designs, your illustrations, thumbnails, pencils, inks, color stuff, whatever. And we will critique it and give you lots of lovely feedback. Heck yeah. Great job, peeps. Good job, everyone. Totally. Thank you to everyone who submitted. And you're really powerful getting your stuff critiqued on a live stream. And thank you for supporting us and being cool. Great job, everybody. Have a nice weekend. Hell yeah. Everyone have a really great weekend. And yeah, we will see you probably on Thursday. Oh, whoa. Yes, actually, that is a good question, Cole. So we do like little Patreon hangouts. Or on Discord, we'll go on like video and voice chat and stuff. So yeah, we have a family thing tomorrow. So we might need to move the hangout tomorrow, but we will see. We will message you on the Patreon chat. Oh yeah, everyone have a great Christmas. Have a great holiday, whatever you're celebrating. Be good to yourself. Take care of yourself. Get some lots of nice little self-care in there this upcoming week. And we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.